people are a little confused as to how to use Pixabay, so I thought I'd go through some basics. You go to pixabay.com, and if you're sensible, you set up an account. It's not a costly account, it's a free account. You just need an email address, and it means that when you download images, you don't have to go through a verification code all the time. It's just a bit of a pain. So, for example, if I want to do a search, I might type in Teddy. Then I can come across here and go for images, and the down click here can give me different options such as images, photos, vector graphics, illustrations. So if I click illustrations, I will get lots and lots and lots of pictures of bears. Now, depending on the type of image that you download depends on how successful putting a pen into your machine and drawing is going to be. So I have downloaded a few of these already, but I'll just show you the process. If, for example, I want to download this one, I click on it, click on free download, and then my options come up. Now I can do a PNG, which means I'll have to trace it, or I can go straight to a vector graphic and choose an SVG and download that. Now, it depends on the type of image as to how good it's going to be to use. And I've got 3 images I've downloaded here, and they were all done as SVG. So if I click on a preview, we can see what I would get. This is going to be excellent. It's more or less single line, nice clear drawing, no great problems with that one whatsoever. All I would have to do with that is to change it to drawing rather than cutting. So all I would do is select it, go over to the right hand side here and choose draw. And because I tend to keep my pen colour as a different colour altogether, I would just do that, change it to my purple and take the fill out, and I can see exactly what I would be drawing with my pen. Now, to put a cut line on that is really easy. You just go to effects and you put a shadow layer on. Do a blackout shadow, and that will usually mean that you just get your outside shape. Go to outside line only and click OK, and then make sure I have that outside line selected and check that it's actually on cut. As long as it is, I don't have a problem. But what I generally do is change it to a black line, which is my standard colour for a cut line these days. Go to my preview again, and you can see the blue lines are the draw lines, the red line is the cut line, and that is exactly as I intend it to be. Done. No problem at all. This one here, let's have a look, see what happens. And I go to my preview, and yeah, that one looks like it's going to be fine as well. I just need to change that to a drawing line and again add a cut line on the outside. Now, where it gets a little more complicated is when you have ones like this. Whoops, I should have grouped that, didn't I? Okay, let's group him so I can move him. Oops, didn't select it, or did I? Okay, that should do the trick, and group. Right, so when I click on this one, you can see that there are some double lines around in the paws, in the ears, things like that. There are some double lines around the bow. This is because that's the way it was drawn in the first place. So if I ungroup all this and break it apart, so ungroup it, if I just grab that very outside line, I think I better break all of it apart, otherwise I'll end up getting something in there that I don't want. Okay, break apart. So I'm going to go for the very, very outside and pull the line away. There we go. And I can still see that I've got some double lines. So the easiest thing to do is to select all that lot and remove the colour. So go to none for the colour and I can see exactly where my double lines are. Because I have taken everything apart, I can remove bits quite nicely without any difficulty. I just select what I want to remove one at a time. No, I want to keep that one, so undo and make sure I take the outer line out if I can. No, that's the entire head. I'm actually, yes, I can get rid of that thinking about it because I've got my outside line already. Okay, I'll get rid of that one. So when it comes to the bow, probably find it's the inner pieces that can go, assuming that they are separate lines. Sometimes they are and sometimes not. So just go through it and get rid of the double lines. It'll take a few minutes, but not that long. And compared with the effort of trying to draw your own design, if you find drawing difficult, this is definitely easier. I'm pretty happy with that. I think I will probably leave these lines in. So I take all this lot and I group it. I take my outside line and I'm going to remove the colour from that because that will make it easier to see. There we go. I have not got a stroke on it for some strange reason. Pen colour, and I'm going to swap that over to purple because that's what I generally like to use. For some reason I've got that one caught in there, so I'm going to remove that. Going to ungroup that a second because I've got this little flower stuck in there. Alright, group that. So I've got purple lines, and if I go to my tool, I've still got it set to cut, which I definitely don't want. I've set it to draw. And I would normally, because I've got a dual tool, I would normally set that to my left tool, and that would be my drawing line. This will automatically be my cut line. So you can see it's still set to cut. And I just have to line that up, get it as I want it to be. And then I can group that. That is my teddy bear. I can get rid of this rubbish over there. So if you have something drawn in very thick lines, the chances are you're going to have to mess around with it. If you have a clear line drawing illustration with thin lines, the chances are you won't. Now, the only other thing is that some people design vectors in different ways. They design and they draw shapes, but they don't actually adjust them as I would. For example, you might get some shapes which are overlapping and all these lines will be shown even though the actual shape needed was the union path of all of them. They won't necessarily have got rid of all the interior lines. Now, sometimes you can separate them and you can just pluck them out and remove them. Other times you would have to erase them, and it depends on how complicated the image is as to whether it is worthwhile doing. If it isn't, then I suggest download a PNG and do an auto trace on it and get your image that way. If, of course, you intend just to do a print and cut, then it really doesn't make too much difference because you will be printing what you physically see as the image, and you just add your cut line on the outside as normal. It only really affects you if you're going to put a pen in and use it as basically a digi-stamp. Okay, that's it. I hope that clears things up somewhat. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.